So I want to tell you about something that happened about 9 years ago. And I can't believe that I forgot to tell you guys this because it's really major. I had been in college. I was in my 20s, I think. And I'd been in college, and I had to drop out of college for some reason. There was all this stuff that happened. I got sick, and I had to have surgery and all this stuff. And I was really, really depressed, and I remember I was so depressed I couldn't even move. It was the only thing that I really remember about that time in my life. But I remember that I got what I thought was divine guidance. I honestly thought that it was from God, and I don't remember exactly how it came to me, whether it was something that I thought or I don't think it was a dream. It was a thought that came to my mind to go to this lake. It was some kind of thought process that happened in my mind that I knew wasn't from me, but I thought that it was from God. And it was telling me to go to this lake at this one particular dock of this lake. And I remember thinking, okay, this is kind of weird, but I thought maybe it was from God, like maybe it was an answer to my prayer. And so I went to this lake one day, and to that same dock, and there were these other students there. And there was this one guy that was really attractive, or if he was attractive to me anyway. And he came up to me after a while, and there was no one else there, by the way. It was just me and this other group of students, small group. And this guy came up to me and he said, "Hey, you want to come with us over to this little restaurant?" I was like, "Sure." Long story short, I ended up dating this guy for a little while. But I want to tell you a few things. There's a couple of things that happened that were very, very weird. The first thing was when we were at that pub, we were getting to know each other, and he told me that he was a mathematics major, and this is weird, he told me that he was approached by the CIA, and that they tried to recruit him. And I remember thinking, it's kind of different. I'd never heard anybody say that before. I didn't really disbelieve him, but I wasn't all gung-ho believing him either. I just kind of took it for a grain of salt, like, okay, that's kind of weird, or kind of different, I guess, but it's not, completely unheard of. I mean, obviously they must do that. And then the next thing I wanted to tell you about was this one night we'd gone to his brother's house, and we had gone to his brother's house twice, but the first time that we went to his brother's house, we had a party and we were all drinking, and we decided to go for this walk. And this guy shoved me when we were on the walk. We got to this hill, and there was this guy that shoved me down the hill, and I literally went rolling down the hill. And the guy that I was dating came up to me, and he was like, "Tell him you're okay. Just say that you're okay." And I was like, "I'm okay," but I kind of thought that was weird. And then later that night, the guy that I was dating climbed a water tower, and I remember watching him from a distance and thinking, he climbed all the way to the top of this thing. And I just remember thinking, wow, maybe the CIA really did try to recruit him, because that was pretty brave. I don't know. I don't know why he did it. I guess he was just compelled to do it. But anyway, the thing that I want to tell you guys about that is really weird is, and this is really creepy, but I gotta tell you guys this. we were at his brother's house on another occasion, and it was a small get together. There was like his brother's friend, and his brother's friend's girlfriend, and then there was the guy I was dating, and then there was another guy there. And so we're all standing outside. His brother had served us, some drinks. It was like a Saturday night, and we were standing outside. We're on our first drink, okay? And this guy that was kind of trying to talk to me, and didn't want to talk to him. He kind of made me feel uncomfortable or something. I didn't really want to talk to him, but he kept trying to talk to me. But he seemed decent enough. I mean, he was having polite conversation with us. But then all of a sudden, this guy, all of a sudden, just starts blurting out the most disgusting. I have no words for it. He starts describing to us how he raped an animal. And he was talking about how he enjoyed that he was talking about how he was hurting the animal and how much he enjoyed hurting the animal. Now here's the weird part. I mean, that's pretty freaking scary, okay? But here's the really weird part. We all forgot what he said. Like, we all experienced, I say we all, I don't really know. I just know that it didn't seem like anybody remembered what he said because nobody reacted to it. I think we all went into shock. And I don't know what else happened, but the only thing that I remember next was that I told the guy that I was dating that I didn't feel good and I wanted to go home. And he was like, why? What happened? And I didn't remember what had happened. That's the weird part. I didn't remember. And it had just happened like minutes before. But I didn't remember it. And I'm telling you, I didn't, you guys. It's weird. And he didn't seem to remember it either. He told me, just lay down in my room for a little while, and I'll come back. That guy who had said that stuff came into his room while I was laying down in my boyfriend's bed. He came in to the room and was sitting at the edge of the bed talking to me. And I remember this. I remember saying to him, was it something I did? And I was like, no, it's the other guy. He creeps me out. And he was the guy that said that stuff, you guys. And I did not remember what he had said at all. In fact, I was creeped out by this other person, I said, oh no, it's this other person that creeps me out. But the reality was I didn't even remember what I was creeped out about. Okay? Long story short, my boyfriend finally takes me home because I was really agitated. I was really freaked out. My boyfriend takes me home. And, he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I just don't feel good. The next day, I was still agitated. And I remember thinking, I was reading this book about alien abduction at the time. I had read several books on it. And I remember them saying that when something really, really traumatic happens, sometimes your mind will repress the memory and you'll experience amnesia. But that you can recover the memory if you sit down and go through every single detail of what happened. For example, like you start from the beginning, you go. So I did that because I couldn't remember what I was so agitated about, but I was smart enough to know that I was so agitated that day, and I kept thinking something happened. I know something happened last night. I don't remember what it was, but I knew something happened because I was really agitated. And so I just said, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to remember what happened last night. So what I did was I sat down and I went through every detail. When my boyfriend picked me up, driving over, what we talked about in the car as we were driving over. I mean, I basically relived this entire night, or the first half of it, until I recovered the memory, which I did easily because it had just happened the night before. And okay, when you got to the party, you opened up the car door, you got out of the car door. I mean, I'm talking about you have to go detail by detail by detail. You got out of the car. What were you wearing? What was your boyfriend wearing? Who was the first person that you saw? Okay, you stepped onto the porch. How long were you on the porch? When did you go inside? I went through detail by detail. And when I did that, I did remember what had happened and what that guy had said. And I could not believe that I had repressed that memory. I was in total shock. How could I forget that he said that? So I called my boyfriend and I was like, do you remember what that guy said last night? He didn't remember. My boyfriend didn't even remember what the guy had said. He's like, no, oh my God, I don't remember that. So, long story short, I never dated that guy, stopped dating that guy. And the other guy, the other guy, I can't remember if it was the guy that said the things or if it was the guy that shoved me down the hill. But I saw in the news sometime later, when I was still living in that same town, that there had been a guy in his 20s that had gone and raped some 11-year-old girls. They were in their house. They were sisters. They were in their house, home alone, and he had broken into the house and raped all of these little girls. And it was on the news. And they had a drawing of the guy, and it looked like him. And I just remember at that time in my life, I knew something weird was going on. I knew, and I suspected that they were conducting experiments, that's what they had done. They had conducted an experiment on us at that party. And I remember thinking that at that time, thinking somebody conducted an experiment on us. And when that news broadcast came on, I didn't think it was real. I thought it was fake. And I thought, oh my God, now they're sending me fake news broadcasts. And I still think it was fake, you guys. I 100% do not believe that news broadcast. I think that news broadcast was fake. I think it was fake. I don't think it was real. It scares me to think that it could have been real. I would not have known. I didn't know who that guy was. I didn't know his name. I didn't know anything about him. But to me, the coincidence of it was it's just too coincidental. Do you know what I'm saying? Like for this to happen and then all of a sudden he's on the news. I was kind of like, there's something weird going on here. They're experimenting on me. They're putting me through some kind of test, and I am not going to participate in this. That's exactly what I thought, and that's exactly what I think now. I don't know, but I just wanted to tell you guys that because that is a major, major gang stalking incident that happened. And it's not your average gang stalking stuff. I mean, that's mind control is what that is. I mean, they caused us all to forget what had happened, and it was just weird. I just wanted to tell you guys.